He is healing. It's very difficult for him. He is grieving his spirituality. He's grieving his trust. He's grieving the deceit. He's grieving the lessons, and it is showing up in very toxic and unproductive ways. Um, he is needing to just take time with this, and he is recognizing this. This is why he just wants to be alone. It's why he doesn't want to be around people. He needs to process the feelings that he's feeling. And when faced with other people and people who are also grieving and going through their own things, he is grieving for himself and also grieving for them. This is what he signed up to do. This is hard for him. It's hard lessons. It's hard contract. It is hard to be of service all the time, 100% of the time. And it is not just this life, but many lives that he is repaying. Not because he was bad in all these lives, but because he has, through the years of his many lives, done things that have been not good for humanity, not good for him, and not good for the people around him. But he has learned many lessons by doing these, and all has been in his contracts in each life. But this is the penultimate life. This is the one where he must shed everything, the one where he must be of the most service, and the one where he must be the most willing to learn and grow and release. And it is very difficult for him, as it is most light workers. It is no surprise that in this life, Andre chose that he would turn to drugs and turn to negative lifestyles, because he knew at some point he would want to learn the lessons involved in doing these activities, but also from his perspective of having complete free will in his life, which is what we allow you to perceive. He knew that the drugs would release, they would numb the pain of being a light worker, of being completely of service, and of being so sensitive. It is very common that these people in life will always hold on to some sort of crutch, some sort of vice to soothe their pain. And now Andre is living his life in a very healthy way for the most part, and has given up, most of his toxic behaviors, and now he has nothing to numb the pain. So all the pain that he numbed all those years, and all the emotions he did not face, he now must face before the end. And this is what he chose to do, although it seems very difficult and very tough. It is all in his plan, and he is doing a wonderful job. He must not be so hard on himself. We are not being hard on him. No one in his life is being hard on him. He's being hardest on himself. And while it seems that he is failing, he's not doing enough, there is nothing that has not been written, and he is merely going through the motions in this vessel so that his soul can learn, and this is hard for him to accept. He has been thinking, how could he accept these lives? How could he choose these lives? But from the higher perspective, his soul is watching with a bag of popcorn. Is watching with a bag of popcorn and loving experiencing all these lessons, and is very happy with the job that his vessel is doing and the job and the contract that he signed up for. as hard as it is to accept, the healing is taking place. The healing is taking place. You need not worry. It's all written, and it's all going to plan. It just seems very, very hard at this time. It will become clear why he has had to go through all of this.
Thank you so much. And do you get a sense that his body is able to relax now, knowing that he is, this is all going well and to plan?
It is, having the higher perspective makes everything that he's going through easier. Without the higher perspective, his life would not be as tolerable or as copable with. He recognizes that what he's going through is for the higher purpose. It's just in the moment it can be hard to be okay with having to go through all of this. It's like, why? What's the point of this? Why do we have to learn? Why do we have to be here? Why do we have to go through all these lessons? If everything is so perfect, why couldn't we have created a reality? Why does a reality not exist where everyone is beautiful and happy? And why does it have to be learning about suffering? And for this we say, it is not a question of why we have to go through this. It is a question of why we chose to experience something like this. From the higher perspective, it is very obvious and very enjoyable to learn about all these different emotions. It's like a person who is in a wheelchair who has never walked a day in their lives is allowed to walk for one day, and they love experiencing the feeling of walking, even though now they can feel the pain in their heels, they can feel the thorns in their feet, and they can feel the tiredness of having to walk long distances. When the next day, when they're wheelchair bound again, they are still very grateful for the day that they got to walk, because it was an experience, and hard as it was for that day with all the problems they faced walking, they still were grateful for the experience. It is something similar to that in a very strange and lighthearted and not serious type of analogy.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And so can you tell me the purpose, please, why he was told he would be experiencing the broadcast on the 6th, 6 a.m. on the 8th, sorry.
It is a very rare occurrence for us to give dates like this. It is hard for Andre to see the bigger picture in this. It is hard for you all to see the bigger picture of this. This is why trust is so important. And by testing your faith like this, it was the ultimate test of faith. It was the ultimate test of how can you get through a situation whereby you are completely disappointed, completely devastated, and have created a place in your acceptance for what is about to happen. You have worked so hard in creating a space in your head where you have accepted what's going to happen, and you understand and have prepared in yourself to be able to deal with what was coming, and then to have that ripped away from you makes you think, well, what was the whole point? Like, why is this, why did I make so many changes? Why did I do all that preparation and preparing my mind and my heart for what was to come, only to have it ripped away from me? And this is a lesson in life, that nothing is always guaranteed. And it is a lesson in acceptance. It's a lesson that sometimes you just have to accept what life is and what life throws at you and what life brings. And this will be very beneficial both here and on the new earth, when you realize that you do no longer have any of your possessions. You no longer are the way you are on this earth, and you are having to make changes to the way you live your life and what you hold valuable. And while in the new fifth dimensional plane, you will have it from the higher perspective, so things will be easier. You won't need what you want here. There will be an initial period where you will be somewhat attached, or at least not used to the idea of not having your material things and your material pleasures. So it does go as far as that. It also goes as far as people who teach others and are the way showers for others. Teaches you how to be prepared for anything. When the people will come to you proclaiming why, this isn't fair, why, we will be able to know and learn from our lessons that life is not fair. And we will have the experience of the many things that will come in the next few months, such as extreme weather, potential temporary power outages, potential job losses, lockdowns, fighting, riots, protests, all of these things that may block your day. They may block what you wanted for your day and what you wanted for your week. This is why Andre's holiday was cancelled. He has learned a great lesson in acceptance and moving on and knowing if there's nothing you can do, how to move on. And he did a great job with this. He was very accepting of the fact that he was not able to go on holidays and knew from the bigger picture that that it was more important to be there for the broadcast. And when that didn't happen, that was the further blow. So the fact that he was so accepting and willing to just go with the flow was a show of great growth and a great deal of inner work that has been done. But so now he was ready for the next level, which was to rip the carpet out from under his feet and watch him crawl and watch him learn how to walk again with his new gifts.
Thank you so much. He's planning to have a holiday this weekend.
Yes, he will go on this holiday. He deserves it.
Great. Oh, wonderful. And for subconscious, for the people who have judged for us sharing the information and they can't understand the purpose or the reason, do you want to say anything about that?
Could you please repeat the question? Andre was thinking about his holiday.
Fantastic. For the people who are struggling to understand and come to terms of the actual point of the lesson you were trying to provide us, what do you want to say to them?
You can only match your consciousness with the consciousness that you are vibrating at. So for those who have the higher consciousness and can see things from the higher perspective, the lesson will be slightly less hard to get over. It will be less difficult to move forward with. The next level down, it will just be that more difficult. The next level down, more difficult again, and so on and so forth. If somebody who is watching cannot see the bigger picture, that is okay. That is the point in their life that they are at, and this experience will in some way have helped them to grow and learn. And even if they are not learning the lesson that we are hoping that they would learn, they will be learning something even in the smallest way. It may just be having and getting through an experience of defeat. To those people who still doubt and those people who still want to point the finger and project their disappointment onto page, onto the workers, onto other commenters and viewers. This is just a show of more inner work needing to be done, and that is okay. It's absolutely fine. We all at one point in our lives have been at a point where more inner work has needed to be done, and it is just a question of where exactly you are in your journey, and it's okay. The people who have the real bigger picture, the really high perspective, will not. They will see the comments and they will feel the energy of the comments, because don't forget, everything is energy, everything is frequency, and the frequency will be felt by the comments of those who have the higher perspective, and they will know that the comments are just that, of a projection. They're not actually, they will not feel right in the hearts of those who have the higher perspective. Just as those who have a similar level of consciousness and awareness will resonate with the comments, and that is part of the purpose, that is part of their journey.
Fantastic, thank you. And subconscious, are you able to define what the subconscious is, please?
When you come onto this planet, you are gifted with the ability to forget who you are at a higher level. This is for you to be able to learn in the physical without without being able to know everything. With the ego placed upon your vessel, you are privy and more subjected to the harsher lessons because you are unaware of the bigger picture at first. The subconscious is everything that you are in this life without the ego. So it is who you truly are. Your subconscious can take on emotions, lessons, and impressions that your ego makes you unaware of. So, for instance, if you were 5 years old and you saw a horrific car crash, over time you forget the car crash, but the impact of that car crash can remain in your subconscious until you deal with the emotions that may have been repressed or not looked at. Your subconscious is also a keeper of the knowledge that you are not necessarily aware of in this life, but it is essentially your gut feeling. Your gut feeling. When you have a gut feeling, your subconscious is aware of something being either a good idea or a bad idea, but your ego is unsure of what it is trying to tell you. And part of the lessons that you learn here on earth are how to let your ego be silent and to trust your intuition and to build a relationship with your subconscious. Your subconscious does not know everything. Your subconscious is it is an aspect of your higher self. Your higher self is not a part of your body. It is something that you connect with, if that makes sense. It is something you can tap into, and it is constantly guiding you and helping you. Your subconscious is slightly different from this. It is more grounded with you here on Earth, but it is able to access all the information of the universe. Or at least all the information that you, by the universal laws, are allowed to have in this life. So that's why meditation is so important. It silences the mind, it silences the ego, and allows you to connect with who you truly are, which is your higher self, your subconscious, working together to guide you. And that's how you can learn lessons, by listening to your subconscious.
Thank you. And then can you define who the higher self is, please?
The higher self is the energy of light that you are when you are not in this body, is an aspect of your soul. It is not the over soul, as you call it. It is not the one and only soul. It is an aspect of your soul that watches you and guides you and leads you and is with you while you walk through your life here on earth. The true definition of a higher self is something that you're not meant to completely know. It is something that is a tool for you to be able to use here as you walk through your life here on earth. The true definition of your higher self is too confusing for your mind to comprehend, and it is too confusing, or it is not something that would, by telling you exactly what your higher self was, your mind would not be able to comprehend it, and it would ruin the lessons that you're meant to learn here. It is something that you are connected with. It is the aspect of who you truly are. But it is so much more than that. It is so much more than just your spirit. It is another you. It is another existence of you, separate but connected to the source part of you. We hope that makes sense.
Thank you very much. It does. It does. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so who helps us when we ask questions in these sessions?
It is, a lot of the time, it is your eternal inner knowing speaking through the conscious mind. Right now, it is Andre's inner knowing. It is Andre's higher self. It is Andre's self that is speaking through him right now. He's not feeling any other energies in his body. He is just very comfortable with knowing, and he is knowing the answers, and it is surprising him how he knows the answers. He is trusting in this session. He is connected with his higher self. But oftentimes it will require beings from the light to step in and to take a question. You will notice subtle shifts in the energy of the person that is talking in the session. You also may notice the pronouns changing from I to we to they to us to me. We are very careful to step in when needed, and you have noticed a change in the pronouns. You've noticed a change in the energy of the voice, and that is because we have stepped in to show you that it can change in an instant. And Andre is very surprised by how quickly that happened. He didn't feel the change. It is just a very subtle thing and will be noticed from the listeners. We hope that makes sense. Do you have any more questions regarding that?
No, thank you. I just want a clarification. When I ask in sessions for the highest, when I ask questions in sessions and ask and call on for the subconscious, it really is a mixture of the higher self and the subconscious. But when I ask directly to speak to the higher self, I get that direct individual.
It's yes and no. Your intention when you say subconscious is not always clear. It is not always something that you have set an intention for. Although you say higher self or you say subconscious, your boundaries with what you are asking are not set in place. It's not something you necessarily have to do, but if you are truly seeking to speak to the higher self, you must set more boundaries. This with your intentions. So I wish to speak to the higher self, but nobody else. I wish to only connect to the higher self and nobody else. Simple little changes to your questions can do this.
Thank you. Yes, I've noticed sometimes when I ask the subconscious for answers and they don't seem to be able to give me much clarification, I do ask the higher self and then get the answer straight away. So it's kind of incredible for the experience of the client and myself when you see that happen.
Yes, this is also indicative of boundaries that you are not setting in your waking life also as well. If you find you are performing sessions without boundaries, we just like to clarify you're never in danger in these sessions and you're never letting anybody else that is not from the light in. We have that covered. We know you work from the light. We know you work from your heart, and we are preventing any negativity or dark beings, beings that have any agenda against the light from entering into your session. But little shift or little moments like this can be very indicative of what may be happening in your life when you're not doing sessions. So if you are not setting boundaries in your sessions, you may be this may be making you aware of not setting boundaries in your day-to-day life. Just small little things. If you're feeling overwhelmed in your day-to-day life, it's important that you set boundaries, more boundaries with the people that are around you.
Fantastic. And can there be practitioners that have negative agendas for humanity using this work?
The only time a practitioner will be allowed to receive the energy that is not for their highest good is for lessons to be learned. And it is not something that will ever harm anybody. It will not be something that will harm the patient or the client, because it is not up to the practitioner to be responsible for the well-being of a client. It is a client who has put their trust in the practitioner to be safe, and once the client is on that bed or on that couch, we have the client's best interests at heart. But it will be a shock lesson for the practitioner who does not get the session that they deserve. They may not get the positive reviews that they want or the word of mouth that they want. And the practitioners that find that they're not getting the work or they're not getting the clients or the good word of mouth, they are not working from their heart and not have the client's best interests at heart. They will be receiving lessons, and their fear of lack and their fear of this work will work against them. This is why you have people knocking at your door and wanting to be a part of your sessions, because you are pure, working from the heart, and are getting the biggest information in the world right now. And this is indicative of your good work. And this is why other practitioners are not receiving the same joy from their work as you are. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes. And can you tell me the importance of the script?
The script is a tool for setting an intention for the session. The script has not been used with Andre today, the original script, the main script. No pyramid was placed around him today. That's okay. It's no problem. Andre knows he's safe. You know he's safe. But he is still in a relaxed hypnotic state. His subconscious is coming through, and we are standing watching the session. So actually the script is not important at all. Technically, Andre could lie on the bed and just allow his subconscious to take over, set the intention in himself to allow us to come in. That is all that matters. You two are both practiced enough and close enough and honest enough and pure enough to just allow this to happen without any script or any protection rituals. It is for the purpose of new clients who may not be familiar with the work and practitioners who are not confident in setting intentions without having to follow a script. Nothing wrong with that at all, but just to say that the script is a tool, it is not a necessity. There has been talk about this pyramid. There has been talk about whether the pyramid should be used or if it's necessary. And it is a great tool if the people are not sure about how protected they are, if they don't trust themselves to know that they're protected at all times, to avoid manifesting what they would perceive as negativity into the session or into their lives, then they use the pyramid. It is the same as spiritualists calling in Archangel Michael to place the cloak of protection around them. It is the same as people wearing crystals around their neck for protection. It is just a tool to keep their mind at ease.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And can you clarify to me what the Akashic records are, please? And is this work kind of like tapping into people's Akashic records?
The Akashic Records is essentially a human construct of something that is merely just an energy source. It is tapping into the infinite knowledge of the soul's journey, of the creation's journey. Everything that has an English or a physical name to it, be it in any language, a 3D construct of something that is something else, if that makes sense. It is just like 3D and 5D. This is a human construct of something that is already, but humans are people that place things into boxes and place definitions on things, and this is why the power of I am and you are is so prevalent in affirmations and manifestation. So by creating a script, creating a dialogue, and painting a picture of opening the Akashic Records, being inside the Akashic Records, asking for information for the keepers of the Akashic Records, it is a human construct tool to access the information that it is a dimension of information that holds all thoughts, all experiences, contracts, possibilities, both in the what you humans would call past, future, present, because everything is everything that has happened or has already happened, and everything that will happen is happening. Nothing has ever happened or will happen. It is all happening right now. That is how the Akashic record practitioner can predict the future, we'll say, because they are really tapping into the energy that is all-knowing of every possibility and every future, in inverted commas, timeline. It's merely just a source of energy, of knowledge.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciated that. And just to clarify for people who don't understand how it is that Andre is in this state today, we used a key code. Can you explain to us how the key code works?
Yes, so Dolores Cannon created this beautiful script of this work to enable a client to switch off his conscious overthinking and allow the subconscious mind to be relaxed enough to channel itself or to channel other beings. Every single person who is able to get themselves into a relaxed enough state can channel and can trust their own intuition. It is switching off the conscious mind that is the trick. We worked with Dolores to create this script because we knew it would be the perfect way to get a client into that state of hypnosis where they're so relaxed they can just allow the words to flow. The script is very important in that sense. However, when you, the practitioner and the client, can build trust and come together at the end of one session to give permission to use a trigger word or a keyword to quickly put this person into that state of hypnosis. We hear the permission being given, we hear the intention, all of us make a contract together that when you say the words, we will jump right into action and help with the energy. But the trigger word will not always work if the client, for instance, is being forced into a session, is being held down against his will, and he will not go into trance merely by the practitioner saying the trigger word. It will have to be a conscious permission given every session, which is why you ask, do I have permission to say the trigger word? This is correct practice and is very important. Without that permission, the trigger word would not work. Even if it is not said out loud and the trigger word is said, that person will need to give themselves permission to allow the trigger word to work, if that makes sense. We are watching everything and we are always helping with this.
Thank you so much. And just to clarify, has any part of Andre's sessions been just his conscious mind, and he wants clarification that he can trust everything that's ever been said in his sessions?
Nothing that has been said has been his conscious mind. There is always an aspect of the conscious mind coming through, because without the conscious mind, he would not be able to speak the answers. He's hearing everything that he's saying, but he is so relaxed into the session that what is coming out of his mouth is just merely coming out. There's no thinking about it. And this is very interesting to him because he's talking and talking and talking, and normally he could talk for Ireland, but he has trouble when talking about information, for instance, on his Instagram page. He has trouble keeping it together in one sort of smooth, flowing state. And when he's able to do that in his sessions, he knows that he is so relaxed and he's allowing us and his subconscious to speak through him. So there have been moments where he has blocked himself and has had to think about what he wants to say. And that is when we prompt him to take a deep breath, to relax back into the session and allow the mind to flow. And it has always worked. So none of the information that he has been given has been from his conscious mind. He is just confusing the idea that you must be conscious and you must speak consciously to get the information across. So there is an aspect of that, but it is not his ego, if that's a better way to describe it.
Thank you so much. And in terms of what Dolores Cannon thinks about what's happening to humanity right now, what do you get a sense that would be?
Dolores is not naive or a stupid person. She is well aware of what's happening. She is very high and advanced spiritual being. She is of the higher awareness, so nothing is surprising her or shocking her. Even when she was living on Earth, she managed to maintain a very neutral outlook on the crimes against humanity, though she was not as aware. She was aware, but not quite as aware. She did not ask the biggest possible questions she could ask in order to divulge deeply into those topics, and therefore that really didn't come out in many of her books and many of her sessions. It did come out, but it wasn't to the extent that it is coming out now. And this is all part of the plan. It is by a way to ease people into the process, but she has always been aware, and she has always maintained that it was not the right time to put that information across. As it stands now, she is an energetic being. She is not with an ego, so therefore is not looking at it from the place of having an ego.
Thank you. Yes, I understand. And would it be fair to say if she did try to bring that information earlier, it would have been quite detrimental to her?
It would have been detrimental to the work, absolutely. Humans need to be coaxed slowly and gently into being at or into raising their consciousness to small little incremental levels to be able to handle more and more information. Without Dolores's tipping her toes into the waters of this sort of work, we would not be able to handle the information as we are handling it right now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate knowing that and confirming that to all. How is his body doing? We have 2 more questions.
Yeah, the body's fine.
Fantastic. Can you explain to us the meaning behind people seeing repetitive numbers such as 111, 222, etc.?
Yes, Andre sees many, many of these. They are an incredible tool to be able to communicate some advice, some lessons, some things that a person may need to look at or apply in their lives. 1111 is typically the first number that people will see, and it's sort of like an activation. It is a window to a spiritual awakening. It is like taking off the training wheels of your bike. You're now ready to start cycling on 2 wheels. After this number is seen, other numbers may start to appear as you move into different places in your life and are needing different little bits of information. The numbers are something that you can research on the internet. Andre definitely recommends Joanne's Sacred Scribes is the probably the most accurate without a lot of the filler. A lot of the numbers are interpreted by websites that are looking to make money or to create clickbait. Joanne Sacred Scribes would be the best option if you are looking to have a rundown of what numbers mean for you. Use your intuition in interpreting what these numbers mean in your life. Andreas had a hard time with some of the number sequences because they have centered around an aspect of his life, but without using his intuition was unable to truly apply it to his life, and it has caused some confusion in moving forward. So while the numbers are a great tool, you have to use your intuition in order to be able to truly understand what they mean with respect to your life. Because while a 5 can mean great changes for someone, it can also just mean a change in attitude is needed. It can also mean a change in job is needed. By putting a 1 with a 5, it talks about having to change your thought processes, because gateway of energy is opened up whereby your thoughts are quickly manifested. So it's like little tricks and tips like this to help you stay in your lane, to stay in check, to help you on the same, help you to stay on the right path.
Fantastic, thank you. And is it true that we are given signs all the time? We just need to look for them?
All the time. Andre has noticed that we send him songs and music. All of a sudden, a song will pop into his head, and he'll have no idea why he was singing this song that he may not have heard in 10 years. And he'll think about the lyrics and how they are completely perfect with the situation that he's dealing with. And that's just little love notes to him to help him to know that we are there. People believe that feathers are dropped by spirits and loved ones, and if that is their belief, then that is what will happen. But you may notice as well, if you're going through a particular problem and you open your Instagram page, a particular mantra or word of wisdom or advice will be the first thing that you see on your Instagram wall. And when your gut clicks that, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I am going through, that is when it is a sign. We are often very asleep to the signs, but they are everywhere. Everything is a reflection of what it is you are and what you're doing, and often signs are placed in your way to reassure you or to help you with a particular problem. So when you pray and ask for signs, we do send them. It is half the battle. The other half is accepting and seeing them and trusting.
Fantastic. I really appreciate that confirmation. And are you able to explain to me what the RH blood type means, please?
The RH blood type is a rare blood type. It is a,
Can you tell us the significance of it at least?
The RH blood type is a blood type that is somebody has in this life that is indicative of a special type of DNA. It is a galactic being that is incarnated on this earth, that is born with a different type of blood type that is not the same as most humans' blood type. Often in medical science, this blood type is not understood. It is not conducive to all medications, and it is not. It is not. It is very sensitive to toxins, alcohol, and drugs. It is significant in beings mostly that have come here to help on the planet, and is just an indication of a special type of a DNA, a special type of body, a special type of purpose on this earth.
Thank you. Out of interest, does Andre have that type of blood?
Andre is hearing the word yes, but he's scared to say the word yes because he does not know what the blood type is, and he doesn't know if he's using his conscious mind, and we're assuring him he's not, so we will say yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And out of curiosity, what about myself?
Yes, yes. You are all intergalactic beings that have incarnated on this planet to help and do good, and you will notice you are very much able to recover quickly from illnesses and blood disorders, we'll say. We won't go into detail about what Andre has overcome for the purposes of the session being public, but it is this is the reason that Andre was able to recover and heal from things that he thought would have been more damaging.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so for the people who are, their original lifetime has been just here on Earth and they've had no other lifetimes on any other planets, do they not have that type of blood?
For the people that are here for one time only?
No, for the people who do not have the HR blood type.
It is there are beings on this planet that have no massive mission other than they want to explore and to experience life, but are still from different planets, different galaxies, different dimensions that are just here to be here, who don't necessarily have a mission. But any human who has not come from one of the civilizations that use this blood type on this planet, they will not have it. For instance, a background human, a clone, and most humans who are merely just here to learn for themselves and not necessarily with a bigger mission for humanity, if that makes sense.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Is there any information that finally you would like to share to the listeners?
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. This is a very poignant message. It is something that humans do in their day-to-day life, project the inner torment, inner turmoils and traumas onto others. We know that you as humans are hurting, and we know that it is not easy to live in this life. And sometimes it is nice to project what you're feeling onto somebody else because that is a form of release, but it is hurting the person, and you are passing on some of your traumas to that person. So a good exercise is to practice projecting and releasing your emotions and your judgments into something productive, like sport, exercise, a punching bag, hiking, being in nature, or screaming into a pillow, whatever works. It can be also useful to have a friend to talk to, who is willing to allow you to release onto them, and vice versa. It must be a two-way street. But when you are releasing onto somebody that has not asked for it or who does not deserve it, you are showing a lack of discipline in being able to master your own mind, and this is a sign of needing to do inner work. So when you are, when you are judging other people, not forgetting that your reality is a direct reflection of what you are and what you feel and what you believe. When you cast judgment onto somebody else, you are unearthing and showing yourself a part of you that is not healed. So use these moments as well to learn about what it is you need to look at. And the further and further you resist facing up to those emotions, the more difficult things will be. So it is important not to be hard on yourselves, and it's important not to be hard on other people, to use your intuition, to learn how to trust yourselves and learn how to nurture and soothe yourself by doing your own inner work.
Thank you very much for the incredibly teachable moment. Thank you so much.